Britain is full of fast Ford fans, and most absolutely covet the RS brand. Since the 60s, those two letters have signified the very best production road cars the blue oval can offer and have adorned some of the most revered cars in automotive history. Who can forget the well-tale boasting Sierra and Escort RS Cosworths? The rally-romping Escort RS 2000? These are now true classic cars and used values reflected. We ran one for a month. Read more here. Rivals are many and varied, so it's with mighty history and massive enthusiasts fanfare to contend with. We traveled to Valencia, Spain, for our first go in the 2016 Ford Focus RS on the road and on the racetrack. It's got its work cut out to take on the Mercedes-AMG A45, Audi RS3, Honda Civic Type R, Volkswagen Golf R and Renault Sport Megane. Its basic recipe looks promising, with a tuned 2.3-litre engine borrowed from the latest Mustang, meaning capacity for 0 to 62 miles per hour in 4.7 seconds and 165 miles per hour, while the clever all-wheel drive system, AWD, a first for a Focus RS, which until now has always been front-wheel drive only, making a drift mode a possibility. Tail out antics ahoy, then. Who do you think you are? Ken Block? Actually, it's funny you should mention that. The YouTube star was consulted on the development of this RS, and it's his influence that makes power sliding possible even if you've never tried it before. The remarkable thing is this is one seriously capable car on a circuit too, with the track settings stiffening the two-stage adaptive suspension dramatically and altering the AWD system along with the steering weighting, throttle response, traction control and engine noise. Even on the road there's a setting above normal that makes the RS way more playful. Sport mode does all the above, but without the comfort penalty of switching those dampers to their most aggressive setting. Focus RS is equipped for enthusiasts. While the cabin doesn't look particularly inspiring, it's very similar to a Focus ST. We found the special Recaro seats to be brilliant. But the majority of customers are expected to upgrade these to race-style items instead. In fact, a lot of pre-ordered Focus RSs will come with almost every option ticked. That isn't a huge amount, but things like lighter forged wheels, stickier tires and the luxury pack, explained here, have been carefully selected by Ford to appeal to the sort of enthusiast who values such things. Ford RS models have strong resale values. There are only 5 color options, but Ford expects the overwhelming majority to take the launch color, nitrous blue. Still, if you pick every option available, you're only adding a relatively small percentage of the car's value. For that you'll get a car that'll comprehensively outhandle anything in its class and go quicker than most, too. Considering the incredibly strong residual values the RS brand enjoys, it'll make a fantastic buy or a great value lease. Should I buy one? If you're in the market for a car like this, and want something livelier than a Golf R, more usable than a Civic Type R and cheaper than an A45 or RS3, yes. It's hilariously good to drive. To find out what the new Ford Focus RS is like in more detail, read on for our full review. It's fair to say the performance of the Ford Focus RS is mind-bending. It uses a 2.3-litre, 4-cylinder engine from the firm's iconic Mustang, battery tuned to deliver 345 bhp and 440 Nm of torque, available between 2,000 revolutions per minute and 4,500 revolutions per minute. Though the torque figure swells to 470 Nm while in the 18-second overboost function upon initial acceleration. In terms of raw data, that equates to a 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint in 4.7 seconds, with a top speed of 165 miles per hour. Nothing else at this price point can match these figures, and you'll pay a significant amount more to beat it. You'll need keys to the Mercedes-Benz A45 AMG or Audi's RS3 Sportback for that. Launch control for road-dripping takeoff to hit 62 miles per hour as fast as the Focus RS will go means using the launch control system, which can be found in the trip computer menus by using the controls on the steering wheel. It's best saved for off-road use really though, because it takes a little too long to engage for most traffic light Grand Prix situations. Once you've selected launch control, it's simply a case of standing on the accelerator and releasing the clutch quickly once you've built up turbo boost, handily displayed on one of the 3 gauges sat above the sat-nav screen. Focus RS sounds sensational on the road. The power delivery is savage, and better still with the driving mode tweaked to allow the flap in the specially tuned exhaust to open, eliciting pops and bangs from the twin tailpipes that can't fail to make you smile. There's a hint of synthesized noise, It uses the same system as the Focus ST for that, but actually there is genuine engine sound mixed in there too. Sport, track and drift modes allow the exhaust to sing to its full potential, and noticeably sharpen up throttle response too. In fact, it sounds a little like the previous model in that it reminds you of a 5-cylinder burble. There isn't much in the way of whooshing turbocharged noise, though, like rivals. We reckon this simply adds more character. We found the gear change to be good too. It isn't as pleasing in operation as a Mazda MX-5's, with the longer throw and slightly more vague operation, but it does the job perfectly well. We're just pleased to be presented with the performance car with no automatic option for a change. They're all too rare these days. Hold on tight. The Focus RS has an innovative all-wheel drive, AWD, system which can send up to 70% of available torque to the rear axle, and 100% of that torque exclusively to one side of the car. It uses electronic clutch packs to measure out the torque extremely accurately, with the car computing the desired mix at a rate of 100 times per second. Torque vectoring and steering. Similar to Fiesta ST, it uses a torque vectoring system in partnership with the AWD tech, which uses the brakes to subtly tighten the Focus's line when required, eliminating understeer, the front end washing wide when you've gone too quickly into a corner, and improving agility. There's a fixed rated steering system installed as well, which offers predictable and feelsome steering unrivaled in the sector. The torque vectoring and steering are similar systems to those found on the brilliant Fiesta Street, but seems all the more impressive here thanks to everything else at work. Ford spent 2 years getting these features working together, and believe us, it shows. Driving modes for road and track. What does this mean? It means that while in its normal driving mode the RS is astonishingly grippy but relatively safe and benign, it's possible to flip to a happy drift king at the push of a button. In fact, you've got 3 handling modes to pick from if normal doesn't do it for you, but 2 are strictly for off-road use only, on a racetrack, in other words. The most entertaining setup for the road is Sport, which switches the AWD system to a more entertaining configuration and adds to the steering weighting. If you're out on a track day and want to go fast, the track is the setting for you. This stiffens up the dampers by a huge 40%, making them quite probably unsuitable for UK roads anyway, because make no mistake, this is a firm car at the best of times. It'll be interesting to see how it fares back here in Britain. The Focus RS and its drift mode. Finally, there's the industry first drift mode. Inspired by YouTube's sensation Ken Block, this allows you to indulge in the sort of tail-out antics usually only achievable on a rear-wheel drive performance car. It retains the traction control but backs it off into a wide slid mode, allowing you to kick the rear end out and then maintain the slide thanks to fancy configuration of the AWD system. Doing so requires a different technique to a rear-driven car. You keep your foot planted on the floor when the slide starts rather than backing off to balance the skid, but the end result is the same. You'll be laughing like a hyena and visiting the tire shop regularly. That's unless it's wet, in which case you're simply going to have an amazing amount of fun. Choice of terrific tires. And while we're on the subject of tires, there's a couple to choose from. They're both designed by Michelin specifically for the RS and measure 19 inches in diameter, but you've got the standard Michelin Pilot Super Sports or the ultra sticky, and ultra expensive, Pilot Sport Cup 2, which will sound familiar if you've ever looked closely at the specifications of high-spec Porsche sport cars like the 911 GT3 RS. These are only available with the optional forged alloy wheels and more suited to track driving than everyday use because they're far stickier but less able to deal with rain or snow. We'd steer clear of drift mode with these fitted, unless you're in the habit of setting fire to armfuls of cash. Brilliant brakes and impressive aerodynamics hidden behind each set of 19-inch alloys are a set of large Brembo brakes that perform very well indeed. They're designed for heavy track use but aren't too aggressive for the road either, striking a good balance between progressive application and outright stopping force. While the exterior styling perhaps isn't as garish as the previous 2 RS Focuses, it's worth noting that every single part is there for a reason. The front bumper design, rear roof spoiler and diffuser between the exhaust pipes all help this car feel amazingly stable at high speed because they're working together to make the Focus perfectly balanced at either end. Of course, with performance this good, there must be at least one drawback, and in this case it's a fast Ford trait: the turning circle is huge. You'll find yourself having to make 5-point turns when 3 will do in other cars, but it'll be worth it once you're moving again. Ford has spent a huge amount of money developing the Focus RS, but you'll notice very little when you're sat in the cabin. In fact, if it wasn't for the extra gauges and such, you wouldn't have any idea you're behind the wheel of something so special. The seats are a strong indication of performance potential, and they're very supportive indeed. There's some blue stitching on the steering wheel to remind you what you've paid for, but everything else carries over directly from the Focus Street. While that might seem like a shame, especially when looking at the cabin of the Audi RS3, it's worth remembering where Ford's priorities lie here. This car is about driving, and the crucial bits are exactly where they need to be, even on a regular Focus. We were particularly impressed with the layout of the pedals, which are wonderfully spaced should you want to use advanced driving techniques to match the engine's revs to your road speed when changing gear. In sport mode you'll get some neat bangs from the exhaust when you do so, and it's difficult not to like that. The first thing to note is this is unashamedly a sports-focused Focus. The low-profile tires and stiff suspension are going to make for bumpy progress in the UK, but most owners will put up with it for the sheer performance on offer here. Just keep those two-stage dampers out of their stiffer mode, because on most British roads that's likely to make the RS a real unruly animal. We loved the standard seats, though. They're beautifully finished and supportive, albeit sitting slightly higher up than we were expecting. Less comfortable, and even higher on initial test, were the optional Recaro racing seats, but alas they've proven popular with those who have ordered the car so far. Clearly such customers have performance driving in mind. It isn't a quiet car either, even in normal mode, but this is a 345 bhp super hatch. They're supposed to be noisy. There's just one trim level in RS specification, but you also get the choice of a number of optional extras to further personalize your car, some of which have proven very popular with those who've pre-ordered their fast Focus. Standard Ford Focus RS equipment. Since this is a performance car, let's start with the driving kit. The 2.3-litre engine, 6-speed manual gearbox and all-wheel drive are standard, and performance can be optimized with a launch control system that allows the car to take off in the quickest possible manner. The suspension dampers have a dual-mode operation, switching between a stiffer, sportier setting and a more comfortable configuration. You get 4 preset drive modes: normal, sport, track or drift, and these are explained in the performance and handling sections. There's a shift light to tell you the perfect time to change gear and 350mm Brembo brakes to slow the car back down again. A set of 19-inch lighter-weight alloy wheels are included, as are special Michelin Pilot Super Sport tires developed for use with the RS. The front end sports bi-xenon head cornering headlights, which switch on automatically when the car senses dusk is approaching, along with a quick clear windscreen with automatic wipers and heated washer jets, while there's a pair of exhaust tailpipes at the rear. Inside the car there's a set of Recaro front seats with leather bolstering, dual-zone climate control, keyless entry, tire pressure monitoring and some extra gauges for various engine parameters such as turbocharger boost pressure, oil pressure and oil temperature. You also get Ford's Sync 2 multimedia system, which features an 8-inch touchscreen, DAB radio, voice control and 9 Sony speakers. Optional Ford Focus RS accessories. Among the options proving popular with customers who pre-ordered their RS are the luxury pack, folding door mirrors, rear parking sensors, cruise control and tinted rear windows, and Recaro shell front seats, which have more of a motorsport feel than the standard units. You can choose a set of black forged lightweight alloys, also in 19-inch diameter, a set of high-performance Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires and some blue brake calipers. The Sync 2 system can be upgraded with sat-nav, a reversing camera and a 10-speaker stereo, while automatic low-speed braking, automatic door edge protectors and an electric tilt-and-slide sunroof complete the extra kit you may order. Colors available include black, white and blue. Again, not a huge change here over the Focus. Street safety is improved by the AWD system, which means the RS has far more traction than a front-wheel drive car, so it will be more capable in slippery conditions. Bi-xenon head cornering headlights are included for free, which work incredibly well, and there's a low-speed automatic braking system available as an optional extra. Also available for extra cost is the luxury pack, which nets you further safety systems in the form of rear parking sensors, cruise control and rear privacy glass. In terms of practicality, on the Focus RS almost everything is the same as the Street, but actually because of the extra drive-it-rain features on the rear axle you lose the spare wheel well in favor of a tire inflation kit, so boot space drops to a maximum of 260 liters. This expands to 1,045 liters with the rear seats folded.